Okay, so we are here today talking about you guys being survivors. Now, from what I have learned about all of you guys, getting into this, many of you have already been through your fair share of crap in your life. Many come from really tough childhoods and seeing a lot of things that first responders have done for you, and you end up getting into that field in order to continue to help others and pay it forward. And there's a lot of things that we don't think of when it comes to the job that can totally influence you and sometimes pull you back under, sometimes bring you down, and stop you from getting out. So that's what we're going to dive into today, which is first off, is have any of you heard of? I was listening to a podcast last week, and it is about victim narcissism. And victim narcissism, I'd never heard of this before, but victim narcissism is basically somebody who is constantly playing that victim mode, that they feel that because of a trauma that experienced in their lives, that they now, everybody needs to help them out. Everybody needs to give them things and dote on them and do this. And the thing is you guys see this all the time. I know my husband calls about people that are often either repeat offenders. So EMS, you guys see this all the time where you keep going to the same house over and over and over again for calls. And you get there knowing that the odds are that that person is okay, that they're most likely feeling that where they're at, um, they're hypochondriacs. And then you get into these other calls as well, where people feel that everybody owes them everything from what they've lived, for where they live. We're seeing a lot of this right now with Black Lives Matters, where people are claiming that because of things that happened to their ancestors in the past, that they are owed things now. So that is victim narcissism. And you guys come across this all the time on your jobs. I mean, for you guys listening, how often does that hit you? And then we also hear of ask holes. So I'm going to read this because this is my friend that quoted this one about ask holes. Is the difference between a victim, or sorry, is when somebody asks and asks, but they are just basically waiting for you to give them the info advice that they want to validate their chaos. So if you guys every single day, every shift that you're going into is chaos, you're going into these ask holes where they don't want you to be helping them with programs to go into, with ways that they can actually, strategies that they can use to get out of where they're at. That's what you guys are experiencing day in and day out on the job. And they say that you are a product of the top 5 that you are hanging out with. So if you are every day, every shift going to victim narcissists, going to ask holes, and you are going into situations where maybe you're doing a lot of surveillance, and you're watching drug dealers who are eating junk food all the time and not taking care of themselves, or you're reading files about all of these cases all of the time where horrible things are happening to people, then sometimes that changes where your reality is. And you may start thinking that, okay, I'm not sleeping. And I'm not sleeping, but I was just at somebody's house where horrific things just happened to those people. Or I'm not sleeping, or I even hear where some of the guys I speak with, where their relationships are about to end, or they are divorcing, but still relative to other things that they've seen and experienced on the job, where people have lost absolutely everything in their house. They've lost loved ones to death in fires, or other tragedies. That relative to a split up with somebody where they are still alive sometimes makes us feel, but there's worse out there, and your reality gets skewed. that top 5 that you're hanging out with on a day in and day out basis, where people are constantly having health issues, where they're losing their homes, where they're losing their families, where they're in tough situations, all of these things start to skew your reality of where your health should be, where with what you deserve in life, right? Where you do deserve to have some time to yourself. You do deserve to have days of rest. You do deserve to not have to be working 24/7. You deserve to be sleeping, to not have gut issues, to not have a short fuse, to be able to have energy for your kids, to be able to spend time with your spouse, to have your sex drive back. Like, all of these things you deserve to have, but quite often with a lot of the things that you see on a day-to-day basis, skews that perception of really of reality. You're only seeing the worst all the time, that sometimes then we tend to put our needs and things on the back burner. So it's not that you're a victim to everything that's going on. Sometimes it is that skewed of the reality. So that's my first point that I have. The second one is that quite often you guys don't know the steps. And that's why I'm here with you guys, is to let you know that these steps are here of all of the things to do with your stress system. Regardless if you work with me or not, that is not why I'm doing this. I am doing this so that you guys can actually put all of the pieces together, where you can figure out that sleep issues, tired and wired, waking mid-sleep do not have to be a part of the job. Sleep deprivation, waking up thoroughly exhausted does not have to be a part of the job. And that is often linked with gut issues, testosterone issues, indigestion, stomach acids, constipation, diarrhea. It's linked with short fuse, moods, cognitive thinking, forgetting things, having not a good short-term memory, thyroid issues, cholesterol, blood pressure, kidneys, gallbladder. All of these things are linked. Healing, inflammation, having high toxic levels in your body. All of these things are linked, where you can't work anymore, where you work out anymore, where you're not able to push in a workout. You don't get that adrenaline high anymore, where you need to live off of coffee and energy drinks. All of these things are connected. And quite often, many of you didn't know that before you came into this world, that all of these symptoms are connected. And when you know that, that changes everything on how you can actually create a plan of action in order to get yourself out. It's not about, as you guys have learned, and if you haven't, go into the unit section of my Facebook group, to the sleep section, YouTube, go into the sleep section. It will explain to you why prescriptions from your doctor are not fixing things. But once you understand how all of these other things are connected, you'll see that that one pill for the anxiety, one pill for sleeping, one pill for stomach acids is not going to fix the entire stress system, which is all out of whack. It's just going to throw one thing else off, because you're Band-Aid solutioning one thing and it's not fixing the root cause. So quite often it is that you don't know what's going on or where to start. Okay, so we have these two things right now that we've just spoke of, where you're surrounded by your top 5. You're surrounded by assholes. You're surrounded by victim narcissism. You're surrounded by people who are having the worst day of their lives and losing everything and people around them. And that skews our reality of what we do deserve and need, and where real emergencies are and where we should be taking action. The other thing is not knowing where to start. So now that you know that all of these systems are linked, that it is really deep into your stress system, that there's not something wrong with you, that you are not feeling like you want to be intimate with your partner, or that you're yelling at your kids. If anger was not an issue for you before, if anger has been one for your entire life, then there are sometimes like skills and tools to be learning on those. But if it crept in over time with gut issues, with sleep issues, with all of these other things, then there is a link to them. Anxiety, depression, there is an absolute link with things that are going on physically in your body. And that is where we can go in and help with those. So now that you understand that, now you can start taking action. which leads me to my third thing, is your service is not responsible for all of your recovery. And they're not responsible for you taking action. Your service, a lot of services are trying to add different elements in to help. A lot of mental health services for you guys, a lot of different things. But the thing is that a lot of times the people that are running your services wellness clinics, they don't understand your entire body, your entire stress system. They don't understand, like for me, I'm one part of that puzzle. And I spend all of my days and nights researching that part of that puzzle. I research always your hormones, nervous system, gut. I'm always looking into all of the new research. Like right now, I've been diving into heart rate and variability and traumas and how all of that affects everything. And I'm always adding and adding new things, new research, new lessons into my program, because that's what I do 24/7. Right? That's what I do. Then you have people that are your therapists and that specialize in PTSD. That's what they do with all of their time. So we can't expect your wellness clinics, your wellness programs, when they are created by people that are created by others in your service that are also doing other jobs in your service, that may still be on the road, that may be doing other admin tasks and all kinds of other things, to without having educational background and training in all of these different aspects, to be able to give you everything that you want. And then from there too, they also need to go through all the budgets and all of the red tape and the loopholes to get you all of the programs and all of the things that are necessary for you. But even if they did get everything for you, it's up to you to take action. Okay, so you are in charge of taking that step, of taking the action. So some of you, absolutely, with certain services, if you do ask for help, that could be a risk to your job. Completely understand that. So you can take action outside where you can be anonymous, where nobody knows. There are other services where they're bridging that gap and you aren't losing your job if you do take that action now with them, but it is up to you to take that step. It's not up to your service. We can be pissed at your services. We can be upset for things, the way that they do them, the way that they function. I know I, for my life of me, do not understand why they're always working on the reactive side and not the proactive. Why don't we find other services where they have high retention rates and find out what they're doing in leadership and management, in hiring, to really keep high retention rates so there's not a turnover, which is another cost to them. Services where people are not going out on as much medical leave, where suicides rates are down. What are they doing proactively in their service? And let's go find out and mimic that. Instead, they're going reactive. What do we do when people go off? How do we help with that? Also, time in between shifts. You guys don't have enough time to recover. Overtime, some places, yes, I know, is mandatory, taking extra shifts, but it's not always. And that's the thing, where you can take action by saying no to some of the overtime shifts in order for your body to recover. There are a lot of different ways, different things, different avenues to do. And the more that you do, if your service is one that is open to this, the more that you do help give your feedback and advice in a constructive way to your service, the more they're able to start giving you what you need and you want. But if we all stay quiet and we don't do anything, then no change can happen. Change sucks too. And this is the biggest thing. Change is one of those things where we fight like hell to stay in discomfort. Like, think about that for a sec. We fight like hell to stay in discomfort, because discomfort is what we know. It sucks. It's horrible. Sleep depression sucks. Yelling at your kids sucks. Having gut issues suck. Going into work and not remembering things, being frustrated with things sucks, but it's something that we know. So sometimes making those changes is scarier than actually staying in this discomfort. So that's where we have to reach outside of ourselves and really figure out, okay, My service may or may not have good employee assistance programs. My service may or may not have really good programs to serve us, or my service may have some programs that serve me, but there are others that aren't. You're the one that has the choice, the 100% control to decide what programs of your service you're going to take advantage of and how much effort you're going to put into them. Your service can't do that for you. Your service can't decide how much effort you're going to. Your service wants you to put all of their effort into all of their programs. They do, but that's your choice. And it's your choice as to what your results are going to be. You don't put in the hard work, you're not going, there's not going to be any payoff. So none of that is up to your service. You did sign up for this job. Okay. And some of your services may be so unsupportive. Some of them may be amazingly supportive, but regardless, your service is not the one that it has control over you taking action for taking care of yourself and how you do that. You get to decide. Take all the programs your service has and work with them. Go outside of your service, mix the two, 100% up to you. You have control over it. But doing nothing is just going to sit you in discomfort. Okay. So I'm just going to review again why I feel that you guys are not victims and why you guys are survivors, but sometimes you fall into these traps. So the first thing that I did go over was that you are a product of the top 5 that you hang out with. And when you are hanging out with people who are in the worst days of their life, when you're hanging out with assholes and victim narcissists day in, day out, people that don't want your help and want to keep blaming others or are experiencing the worst of the worst ultimately imaginable, then yes, relationship struggles, gut issues, sleep deprivation, all of these things may seem like they are not as important. But know that you are not able to continue helping these other people if you don't take care of those things. And you will end up in the state that they are in if you don't take care of yourselves. And then the second point was that, hold on. Second point was that often you didn't know the steps. So now you do know the steps. Okay. The steps are that sleep, tired and wired, waking mid-sleep, waking thoroughly exhausted, need coffee, energy drinks to get through your day, testosterone being off, estrogen being off, moods, cognitive thinking, short-term memory being gone, gut issues, indigestion, GERD, IBS, constipation, diarrhea, anger, short fuse, anxiety, depression, all of these things are linked. All of them are linked. So going to your doctor and getting one solution is not there. Now starting to look at them as a whole and how can you fix them as a whole, fixing your stress system, hormones, nervous system, and gut. You now have the base understanding. And as you are with me more and more and more, you will gain more of an understanding of what needs to happen in order to get better. Okay. So it is a whole entire unit. And the other thing is that your service is not responsible for you taking action. Be that with all the programs and services that your service provides or outside of those. You are the one that has complete control of taking everything that is provided to you, all of the responder groups out there that you have access to. You are the one that has full control over pushing yourself out of that comfort zone and making the changes needed so that you can be the spouse that you want to be, the father, mother that you want to be, the parent, and you can thrive in your career, like really function optimally on the job and off. Okay. You have any questions about this, let us know. We are here for you and we are here to support you every single step of the way. Know that nothing that you tell us goes anywhere to your services. Everything is kept confidential between us and we are here to support you. Email us support@911lifestyle.com. If you go to our website, 911lifestyle.com, and you go into the work with us tab, it will give you an overview of our program. If you have any questions about it, just let us know.